Recorded Books and One Click Digital present Once Pregnant, Twice Shy by Garnier, narrated by Kate Turnbull. Prologue. He was the sexiest, best man the maid of honor had ever seen, and he wouldn't stop looking at her. Stomach clenched tight with longing, she stared into his gorgeous obsidian eyes and wondered how she was going to have the courage to tell him that their one incredible night together, that night that should have never happened but did, had resulted in a little surprise on the way. That the stork would be paying them a visit in 8 months or so. The thought alone made her legs tremble. Clutching her white orchid bouquet with trembling hands, Kate Devaney forced herself to focus on her sister Molly, and how stunning she looked up on the altar in her snow-white wedding gown next to the drop-dead gorgeous groom. The fresh noon sun lit her lovely pink-cheeked face, its warm rays illuminating the couple as they stood before the priest. They were surrounded by an explosion of white Casablancas, orchids, tulips, and roses. The train of the bride's wedding gown reached almost to the end of the red velvet carpet, where the guests sat in rapt attention on rows and rows of elegant white benches. Molly's voice trembled with emotion as she spoke her vows to Julian, her best friend forever, and the man she'd always loved. I, Molly, take you, Julian John, to be my husband. Kate's heart constricted with emotion for her little sister, but no matter how much she fought the impulse, her eyes kept straying to the right side of the groom, to where the best man stood towering and silent. Garrett Gage. Her tummy quivered when their eyes met again. His eyes were hot and tumultuous, his jaw set tight and square as a cutting board. He'd been looking at her for every second of the ceremony, his palpable gaze boring pinprick holes through the top of her head. What a pity that his fiancée wasn't at the wedding, so that he could go and stare at that blonde and leave Kate alone, she thought angrily. But no, he haunted her. This man. Day and night she thought of him, wanted him, ached for him, while every second of the day she tried futilely to forget him. For the past month it had been a struggle to ignore the enticing memories of the things he'd said to her, a struggle not to remember the way he'd held her in his strong, hard arms, like she was more precious than platinum. She told herself, every night for the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?